Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribe Star. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Red Pill Nation Hangout number 355. Just giving you a heads up, Canada decided to go absolutely batshit insane this week. So we are actually going to be doing 356, a Canada special, tomorrow to cover all of it. And it is just as crazy as you might think it is. It's just welcome to fucking clown world, folks. And I can actually say the fucking word "fucking" now because I only use YouTube for ease of uploading to other platforms. I don't use YouTube as my main source of my main actual audience. My main actual audience right now is actually at MGTOW TV. That might change in the long run, but for right now, my largest participation on from my content is over at MGTOW TV. But for those of you who don't know, I am at Patreon as the Naroki 5 or the Red Pill Nation. I'm gonna have to go check. I have a Subscribe Star, but Subscribe Star just does not seem to want to initialize my account. So for now, I'm just up at Patreon, and I'm gonna have to go over it in the next couple of days and just get everything updated at Patreon, and just suck it up with Patreon for a while until I can get whatever the fuck is going on with Subscribestar worked out. For those of you who also don't know, I am, of course, at MGTOW TV, YouTube, Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, Brighteon, Facebook, Minds, Gab, MeWe, Getter, and TLB Talks. Yes, at some point, and I said at the start of last year, and I want to keep saying it till I actually remember to do it. At some point, I am also going to be getting onto Spotify and iTunes and Rockfin and SoundCloud and all of those other wonderful podcasting platforms to help expand my reach, but that day is not today. Now, with the necessary getting on my knees and groveling for money, I'm going to let my partner, because it's just the two of us tonight, my partner in crime, who's busy cleaning up the evidence because the aliens tried to fucking abduct him again, and this time he was ready for them. So he's preparing the aliens for putting it in his secret food stash. So, Rearson, introduce yourself.
Don't worry, you get your delusions, laser brain. Oh, sorry, that was taken from Star Wars. My, what a rather interesting form of reality you're in, my friend, and to think it's all natural, but that's okay. You know who I am, you know why I'm here. I can't say anymore. Let's get on with the insanity.
Okay, for a very interesting show tonight. We do have a full slate, and it covers a wide swath of actual content tonight. We have a tech report starting out. We did have a Canada report, but we had to move that to tomorrow. Tech report. 1A, massive corruption uncovered at Twitter via community notes and organization going by Desert Raven on Twitter. Topic B, Google settles $5 billion lawsuit over data collection in incognito mode. Hold on a second. Topic number 2, state of Texas defies Washington, D.C. and decides to enforce its border. 3, Academy Award nominations. Feminists Mad because Margot, Robbie, and Greta Gerwig denied nominations. I might actually have quite a bit to say on that one. Topic number 4, Lia Thomas attempting legal case to swim at Olympic Games. Topic number 5, Steve Crowder exposes major Blackrock executive for pedophilia. Blackrock circles their wagons. And here's the thing. Do we want to make the topic number 6, number 4, Wizard of Oz getting insanely woke remake?
Well, I mean, it's part of the whole woke thing that goes with four topics 4 and 5 anyway. Actually, no.
Okay, leave it where it is. All right.
Yeah. No. That makes sense because it is to go with movies and it ties in with Lia, whatever the fuck it thinks it is. Yeah. So that's.
Yeah. So okay, we'll move it to 4 then.
Yep, and then 4 becomes 5, 5 becomes 6.
Okay.
Actually, that's good. Yeah, I'm happy with that actually.
Yeah, I'm happy. Now that I'm looking at the topics, I'm like, yeah, okay, that is definitely making more sense. So, excuse me us for a second while I rearrange the topics here. 6, yeah, so Crowder is number 6. All right, so Wizard of Oz is going to be topic number 4. All right, so without any further ado, let's just get into. Let me just get the timestamp going here, and we can get started on the tech report, which is a very interesting tech report because, as in particular, the issue around what's been going on at Twitter. Okay, so yeah, no sooner does Elon Musk step away from Twitter and hands it over to Linda Yaccarino. And I remember that tweet saying that the censorship was not going to happen. And this may not have had anything to do with Yaccarino, but I mean, just a little bit too much of a coincidence that a company would just happen to know that if you started community noting certain topics from a certain side of the political and cultural aisle, that stuff gets deboosted in the Twitter feed as opposed to not. That requires information from the inside of Twitter. Now, it might not necessarily have come directly from Linda Yaccarino, but it was somebody who works at Twitter or used to work at Twitter, knew about this feature on community notes, and the number of, in particular, in an account by the name of Desert Raven, there were so many community notes, and it was all affecting one particular side of the political and cultural aisle, that it could not have been done by one person. So it was being done by a group of individuals, or somebody was paying for it to happen. Now, I'm not going to specifically point the finger at Linda Yaccarino, but obviously somebody at Twitter knew that the community noted posts were going to be deboosted, and told these people exactly what was going to happen. And they used it. And the guy who even found this out and reported it, his tweet got deboosted, except of course that in the process of doing that, the company gave itself away. Elon Musk probably already knows about it. It's probably, if it's not in the process of getting fixed, it will get fixed soon, because Elon Musk is, because again, right? This has happened before, right? You've had individuals inside Twitter who have tried to run stuff past Elon Musk and hope that they didn't notice, and it works for a couple of months or a couple of weeks until somebody figures it out and brings it to Elon Musk's attention. And unlike the previous regime, when it's brought to Elon Musk's attention, it gets dealt with. I mean, am I fully in the Elon Musk camp at this point? No. I think that Elon Musk is allowing this stuff to happen on Twitter because it serves his interest. It is going to be very but you were kind of having to expect this, given the fact that it's an election year, and like they are so it was, and I got to point this out, 2020, looking back on it now and seeing what happened, what you saw in 2020 was a soft coup. The people who engaged in this soft coup are doing literally everything in their power to stay in power, because if they lose the election in 2024, and they probably are going to lose it because they don't have enough, they're not going to have enough tricks in there. Like basically the current swing states, even if all four of the current swing states all go Democrat, they still lose the election. It'll be a whole lot closer, but they still lose the election. And currently in 3 of those 4 states, Trump has a lead. And in the other one, I would probably say it's neck and neck. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to be an absolute Trump avalanche, because you've still got the solid blue states on the coast that are still going to go with Biden. But I mean, yeah, it's they're doing what you kind of expected them to do. This, again, we've had discussions about this. It was going to probably take Elon anywhere from 1.5 to 2 years to fix all the bugs that he has at Twitter and to remove all of the individuals. But again, like something like this, and knowing that community notes worked like this. Sorry. What is going on? Hello? Okay, well, so yeah. So yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, Elon's gonna fix it. Each one of these little tactics gets less and less and less and less effective. They're probably pulling the same thing at Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Again, though, YouTube does not have the same pull now that it had in 2024. And YouTube is, again, probably because you've had a lot of free speechers go over to Rumble now, and they're seeing all of these individuals on YouTube still whining about what's going on YouTube, but not engaging on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, whatever, not posting up their content anywhere else. YouTube has just done such a piss poor job of handling its content creators that now it's like, it's like the big YouTube content creators that are still on the platform are informing all of the other big YouTube content creators on the platform, specifically the free speech ones. It's like, yeah, you need to get your ass over to Rumble. At least get over to Rumble. Right? Because it's, YouTube is going to try to censor, and it's like, the Rumble isn't big enough now that, that the establishment, and we will find out in topic number 6 tonight, that Blackrock did something in regards to Rumble today, or a few days ago, which pretty much acknowledges that they are part of that sphere now. that there's something there. So anyway, it's been caught. It's going to get dealt with because Elon Musk will deal with it. Again, at this point, I'm having to also imagine that Elon Musk is probably getting a little bit sick and tired of these sleazeballs consistently. I mean, he's probably dealt with more than a few of them before, but I mean, he's probably he's really seriously fed up when it comes to Twitter and having all of these people try to fucking sneak shit past him. I mean, it's probably happened in other companies that he's owned, but not to this degree. Now, the other issue, and this, by the way, goes a long ways to explaining why Google is suddenly short on money and why they had to engage in layoffs. Well, as it turns out, and yeah, I did decide to use all zeros and a dollar symbol to let you know how big of a settlement this was. They settled out of court with somebody for $5 billion because they lied about the fact that there was still data collection if somebody went into incognito mode. They tried to have it dismissed and whatever. But again, right, this goes back, and I'm actually going to have to go and find Raging Golden Eagle's content, and I'm going to have to find that particular video and post it up. But Raging Golden Eagle was describing what was going to happen to Google. It's the same sort of thing that happened to Disney. Death by 1,000 cuts. You know, oh, we can lose 20 billion with stock value here. Oh, we can lose 20 million here. We can lose 30 million here. We can lose 150 million here. We can afford it. We're a big company. We have no rivals. Right? We have a monopoly. Look how big we are. Well, now Google is starting to take some serious hits. Right? Now, this kind of explains why YouTube has had to do some of the things that they've had to do, because this is a huge payout. I don't know who's getting all this money, but this is a huge payout. $5 billion is a big hit for anybody, right? Even Blackrock would be kind of wincing a little bit if it had to pay out $5 billion. You know, and it's all because they lied about incognito mode. And again, right, I totally accept the fact that even if I'm not paying for the product, then I become the product, right? And for instance, I'm not gonna mention the name of this particular actress because she's in the adult industry, but somehow I think I've found a kind of a back door, and I'm actually starting to talk to her on a regular basis. And here's the really weird part about it. As I've been talking to her, you know, all of a sudden, on unrelated channels, like on my YouTube, on my Facebook, whatever, right? Her stuff is coming up in my feed. I even pointed this out to her because the AVN Video Expo is actually it's over now, and it's probably been over for about, if it went to 9 p.m. tonight, it's been over for about 40 minutes. There was an announcement of her being at the AVN Expo, which is not a surprise because I'm not going to mention her name, but if you typed her name into, say, a site like Free Ones, she has been consistently in the top 5 to 10 foreign stars in the industry for a while now. And it's weird because it's sort of like the conversation between her and I has not really, I'm not on, I got to point this out. I'm not on her OnlyFans. And I have made it very clear to her that I'm never going to be on her OnlyFans. Right? She still keeps talking to me. So who knows, right? But yeah, you know what? I don't I don't spend a lot of time looking her up outside of Instagram. I don't deal with her outside of Instagram. But somehow her stuff keeps popping up at all of these other sites, and I suspect that has a lot to do with Google. So yeah, Google has been collecting my data. They've been collecting everybody's data. Uh, I've been I've moved over to DuckDuckGo. I'm slowly moving over. At some point, I am going to move from DuckDuckGo over to Brave, and that Brave is going to be my search engine of choice eventually. But yeah, the fate of Google is it's either going to get broken up or it will be taken. It's going to suffer the same fate that Disney and Bud Light and a few other companies have for being woke and continuously taking sides in the culture war. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rearson.
I should be able to keep the background noise to a minimum. My apologies, my friend. You may have to try to filter that out a little bit. Massive Twitter, corruption via Twitter. Honestly, I don't know the first thing about any of that. I really don't. I'm on Crackbook, and that's about it. Maybe at some point I'll get around to TLB Talk. Oh, by the way, you might want to actually put TLB Talk maybe as your first place, since V is a regular guest on our show. Just saying. But for Google, that's not surprising. It really isn't. $5 billion. I've
Hello? Hello?
Apple or Google. Yeah. Sorry, I just had to formulate what I wanted to say here. Apple or Google, take your pick of corporate poison for how you're going to be monitored. How you're going to be, well, profiled, pigeonholed, whatever phrase you want to use. Just like Rogers or Telus, which is your preferred poison for your internet access or other services. I don't like Google, but I don't like Apple more. So it's kind of funny that we've talked about this again, because I think that we were talking about something similar to this with Kelso when he was last on. At the end of the day, one, I only jump on Chrome when I have to. My work requires that we use Chrome and all the Google related stuff to go along with it. I've had bad feelings about it, but then again, it's a telecommunications company that is using basically known stuff and shit. But then again, too, I'm also working towards my Google data analytics certificate as well, too. So am I any different? Not really. But I mean, that's that. About 3 years ago, when it was brought to my attention that Google has something else within its architecture, and it's under the word Adreno, and Chrome being a very despicable compound. Well, no, the compound itself is not despicable. Apparently, it gives you the highest of highs. It's just a matter to procure it requires, for the purest form, for, well, typically children to be abducted and to be tortured. So I have a lot of issues with Google. I have a Gmail account, and that now is more or less my junk email website address. And I don't know what to say else at this point. I'm just as happy to see Google fall from grace as I would be to see Apple fall from grace. And it can't happen soon enough for either company, in my honest opinion, but that's just me. There was always something about incognito mode that just didn't feel right. Like it always was in the back of my head. Well, how do I know that Google is not actually tracking anything? Because if that's going to be the way to have Google not track, everybody that would be aware of it would be doing it. So to me, it always just didn't feel right. It was wrong, I suppose, but the best way to say it. And I'm glad that my intuition was telling me just to get out and to avoid it, or don't believe it, which more or less I believe is more the case. So that being said, but then again too, I mean, I have brought up of the Freemason symbols that they use and known symbols of Satanism are incorporated into Google. The Google, the Google Play Store icon. The Gmail looks like it's a Freemason M on their aprons. Don't do evil. Ain't that ironic? Well, no, they knew what they were doing. But anyway, I can't wait to see Google fall and fall hard. I would love to see Apple fall and fall hard as well too. But if anybody thinks that Apple is going to be, that they wouldn't engage in something like that, I've got dry land in the middle of the Everglades for you to sell with a bridge, complete with a bridge. So that's all I have to say on that one, my friend. So I'll get you to unmute yourself, and we're going to move on to topic numero 2.
I am not unmuted, actually. I'm not muted at all.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Oh, this one. Well, yeah. Okay.
Oh, anyway, we could be on this one for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah. I started seeing stuff in the news around the state of Texas a few months ago. Biden sending some very, very strong, actually outright threatening Texas with legal action if they chose to. And because it's like, you know, this, like, everybody's looking at Texas and going like, is looking at the governor. Why are you not enforcing the border? It's like, well, we're not getting any cooperation from the feds. And what eventually happened, and it's not a coincidence that this happened during an election year. The state of Texas just went, you know what, we're not going to wait. We're obviously not going to get any cooperation from you. We're just going to call up our state militia and our state and our local National Guard, and we're going to send them to the border, and they're going to reinforce the border. So the border, in at least the Mexico border, at least along the range of Texas, has been very, very much solidified. The powers that be, and it obviously is not Joe Biden, but the people who are backing Joe Biden, issued some very, like, almost threatening words to Texas to back the hell off and to reopen their border, which of course Texas has no intention of doing, because Texas invoked a part of the Constitution, because Texas has a very unique relationship with because Texas was part of the Confederacy and wasn't part of the Confederacy. Texas did not get caught. Texas sided with the Confederacy, but Texas never got conquered. Right? It was the Deep South that got conquered. Texas never got conquered. Texas just kind of went along. Texas has a very different, in terms of states, has a very different relationship with the federal government, and every state has the ability to invoke it, just like and this. I'm thinking that this all did just get started. I mean, ironically enough, I mean, Scott Moe invoking notwithstanding on, and he was the first of all of, again, this is a very strange sort of situation that it's Canada pushing back against Trudeau that is causing the Americans to, it's almost like the Americans are following the Canadian lead on this, because Scott Moe invoked notwithstanding over pronoun use and permit and use of it in schools. Daniel Smith invoked notwithstanding to deal with the energy policy, especially after what happened here very recently, where they actually had power issues because the federal government was blocking the ability of the province to maintain or build new coal and gas-fired power plants to keep the cities running. So there was actual threats of brownouts at -40. Not a good look. And of course, the trained seals on Twitter tried to blame Daniel Smith for this, and of course it didn't work. So just like with the trucker convoy, the state of Texas found a clause in the Constitution which enables them to pretty much do the same thing with the federal government in D.C. that the Canadian government has around notwithstanding, and the governor invoked it and said, no, we're going to go to our border with our state guard, and we're going to enforce the border. You can't do anything about it because see this little clause in the Constitution here? Yeah, we're perfectly within our rights to do that. So, of course, more threats came down. And literally, I think every single state, with a couple of exceptions that had Republican governors, immediately backed Texas in what it was doing. There were a couple of surprises. Kansas didn't get on board. North Carolina didn't get on board. But then I found out that I think both of those states have Democrat governors. And of course, all of the standard blue states didn't support Texas with what they were doing. Gavin Newsom practically shit his fucking pants. Which is good, because Gavin Newsom is full of shit, and maybe he needs to get some of it out into his pants. That's just a personal opinion I have on Gavin Newsom, because they're going to try to make it. Gavin Newsom is probably going to be the nominee in 2028. Just saying. So the federal government had been threatening Texas not to do this, and Texas said, fuck you, we're going to do it, and they did it. So now the federal government was threatening to move the FBI and law enforcement agencies down. Except what's gone wrong, what's gone on, and this is very ironic, because it's more or less the same thing that happened in Ottawa with the truckers. The truckers in the U.S., because they decided not to do that thing in D.C., 700,000 truckers have trucked themselves down to the Texas border with Mexico to reinforce the Texas State Guard and the Texas Rangers in reinforcing the border. So now the only way Biden is going to get anything done is it's like, and he's not going to be able. Like, I mean, he's like at least half the state governors have made it very clear that they are not going to initiate their state guard to go down there and remove them. So they're going to have to call the stuff in from blue states, and they're gonna and it's like literally the only way they're going to be able to do it is pretty much to do it by force, which is probably not going to be a good idea. But again, it's not Biden calling the shots. But if Biden tries to use physical force to remove those blockades in Texas, it's going to look bad for him. So, yeah. Don't know how this is going to resolve itself, but Texas has pretty much had enough. Texas has the backing of the majority of the country. Of course, you're seeing the mainstream media. And of course, Trump immediately jumped on board and said, it's like, when I'm in office, the first thing we're doing is we're going to be having the largest mass deportation in the history of the United States the moment I get into power. Like, all of you illegal immigrants up here, like, don't get fucking too fucking comfortable, because I'm coming for you. And of course, they tried to twist that out and say, Trump is trying to initiate a revolution. And it's like, no, he's not trying to initiate a revolution. The state of Texas is just simply reinforcing its borders, and they're getting the majority of the country backing them. And you've got at least half the state governors who are not going to allow Biden or his cronies in Washington to initiate the state or national guards to go down to that border to remove the barriers that Texas has put up. And even if it was just like National Guard against National Guard, now it's not just the National Guard, you got the truckers too. So if the only way you're going to be able to, like, I mean, are they running the risk of potentially shooting on their own population if they remove it? Oh, and also, by the way, the Texas Rangers have suddenly started getting a lot more aggressive on the cartel south of the border. A couple of little islands that the cartels have been using as launching points to get drugs into Texas, the Rangers raided those places and shut them down. So yeah, the mess still continues along the borders of California, Arizona, and New Mexico. Gonna be fair betting that the governor of at least one of those states is gonna go red in the next election. So it's not looking, it's still, the issue is still outstanding. But yay, Texas, good on you. And you're probably going to start seeing more of this if the administration, and not specifically Biden himself, but the cronies, the people behind the throne or behind the seat, who are the ones that are actually running the country, try to actually use physical. They're at the point now where it's been thrown down. Like, go ahead, use physical force, use lethal force to remove us, is what it reached. And it got to that point much faster than I thought it was going to. So yeah, they did it to them. The Biden administration, they did it to themselves. In no way do I feel sorry for them. And you're probably going to see, like I said, I was going to say, you're going to see a ramping up of political violence as the year progressed. I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly, but it happened a lot more quickly than I thought it was going to. And it's going to get even hotter as we get further into 2024. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rierson.
I actually didn't think too much of this, one way or the other. Abbott has shown clear signs of being, well, compromised, and a happy, willing part of the deep state. I mean, I wish it wasn't that way. I mean, DeSantis was honestly no better. I mean, he locked down Florida pretty damn quick, and then once he was told, yeah, your cruise line industry, your tourism industry is going to suffer, well, all of a sudden he had more or less had a change of heart, if he has one. I honestly didn't put two and two together when you had mentioned the whole thing of the notwithstanding clause with Saskatchewan and Alberta to more or less give the precedent of what provincial, or in this case, state powers really are. And the Constitution is, the U.S. Constitution is not regularly enforced. In fact, if anything, it's been nothing but a systematic attempt to constantly have it be undermined. But, I mean, that's all part of social engineering and the systematic breakdown of society by the deep state, the cabal, whatever you want to call them. So, now my feeling about it is mixed. I can't say it any other way. It's very mixed. I'm glad to see it happen, and I'm kind of reminded of a Q post where basically it says that, or it's been said within the truther community, that America has to go through a near-death experience. We're not there yet. Oh, sorry, they're not there yet. Because the last shoe to drop would be, well, a couple of them that I can think of, would be a complete economic collapse, which should start to happen within about 3 to 4 months. So my going down to Seattle, in a way, I'm kind of glad that I just walked away from the whole thing. The whole thing with Seattle, I would be worried about is hyperinflation kicking in, and just how difficult would be for me if I was there. Don't know, because I'm not in that scenario anymore. But what's going to happen that I understand, well, what my expectation will be, let me rephrase that, is the red states that are supporting Texas, because they realize if Texas has a problem, everyone has a problem. Not to say that it's not, that Texas is going to be the only point of entry. It'll just be basically spread out elsewhere. It'll go to the neighboring blue run states. So Arizona, New Mexico, California are going to be the likely problems. And then, of course, and then if it does go up the coast, literally, then through shipping, then that's another matter altogether unto itself. But then again, it was Abbott that started to ship illegals to the blue states because they're the problems. They're the big sources of the issues, and I don't blame them on that at all. So, it will be interesting to see how this unfolds. So, I don't really have more to say. So I'll just throw it back to you, my friend. Naruki?
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting turn of events. It's we don't know how this is going to play out. If Biden, and keep in mind, the same people that are calling the shots with Trudeau are pretty much the same. It's not the same group, but it's the same cabal. So, they're going to pull the same type of thing. Here's the issue of what that will be like in the United States versus Canada. Canada, there's not so many guns around, although, again, even if Trudeau completely bans guns in Canada and then tries to use the armed forces and calls in the blue helmets to help him enforce his will on the Canadian people, the moment he calls in the blue helmets, like, the guns are going to start coming up from the U.S., like, really fucking quick, right? The difference is that if they start shooting on their own citizens in Texas, they're going to get shot back. And everybody is going to find out about it. The media is not going to be able to control the narrative on it. If they do this thing, if they try to use force in Texas, they would have to immediately ramp up force everywhere else at the same time. Because, like, it won't take very long for word to spread that they started shooting on people on the Texas border. And the moment that happens, the proverbial shit hits the fan. And when I mean the proverbial shit hits the fan, I mean it's not just going to be the shit hits the fan for the United States. The shit hits the fan everywhere because all of those international, like, all of the armed forces that are overseas and whatever, the majority of them are either going to be isolated or they are going to immediately return to the United States. The United States Navy is the Navy that is protecting the shipping lines. Most of the Navy is going to get called back, right? It's like, yeah, like, this is good. This is potentially one of those tipping points. Just saying. And with that, we're going to move on to the next topic. And this one is kind of up my alley here. So, oh yeah, let's just go on this one. So, topic number 3. The Academy Award nominations came out. It's looking like Oppenheimer is the odds-on favorite to win. There's a couple of other ones in there. Barbie was not on that list as for Film of the Year, which is not a surprise. Barbie is not a Film of the Year candidate. I said it was going to be between 6 and 8 nominations. They got 6. It wasn't the ones that I thought it was going to be. Greta Gerwig did not get a nomination for Best Director. I didn't expect that Margot Robbie was going to get one for Barbie, and she didn't. But I mean, feminists everywhere started screaming bloody murder. However, and they tried to play the misogyny card until, of course, the guys from the Manosphere pointed out that a huge chunk of the Manosphere actually endorsed the movie. So that whining got muted very quickly. And I'm going to say this about this particular movie. The movie is very, and I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of guys in the bunch of MRAs that didn't really agree very strongly about this, but it's true. That movie is actually very, very based. Greta Gerwig, and it becomes very obvious right from the very start of the movie, Greta Gerwig wanted to mock the Manosphere. She adapted from the Manosphere to try to use the Manosphere as the victim in this movie. And the only problem is that at the end of the movie, Greta Gerwig picked the red pill. Okay, it wasn't a red pill, it was shoes, but it was still the same metaphor. And you will never hear any feminists, or you won't ever hear Greta Gerwig, or you won't ever hear Margot Robbie admit that, but that's effectively what happens at the end of the movie. Barbie picks the red pill. It still got 6 nominations. Margot Robbie didn't deserve a nomination. A little bit surprised with Greta Gerwig, although it did get nominated in Best Adapted Screenplay, which is exactly what I figured was going to happen. It did get nominated in Set Design. Ryan Gosling did get nominated for Best Actor, which was also no surprise. It got Best Musical Score. It's nominated for Best Musical Score. So it did get the 6 to 8 Academy nominations that I thought it was going to get. Greta Gerwig was a surprise, though. That was the one that was really not. That one was really not that big of a shock. Feminists got mad. Again, right? It's not going to win Film of the Year. I'm guessing that knowing how the Oscars work, that Barbie is going to get 1, maybe 2 awards. What's going to happen is that at the end of the Oscars, you're going to come out the other side, and it's going to be like the feminists just completely forgot about it, and they will be talking. Because right now they're talking about how about Hollywood is just male controlled, and of course it's just they seem to forget that Me Too ever fucking happened, and about all of the pro-feminist stuff that has been coming out over the past few years. And they're just good, and they're going to absolutely spurg out, and they're going to celebrate so lowly that they're actually going to detract away from the win. Again, does Barbie deserve an Oscar? Yep, it does. And you want to know what? And that feminists, and this is the thing, Greta Gerwig got succeeded from financially by accident. She adapted so much stuff from Fight Club, The Matrix, Saving Private Ryan, that she actually ended up paying tribute to those movies. There was a scene, and you heard me talk about it after I saw the Barbie movie, where Barbie literally steals a line directly from Fight Club and uses it in the movie. And she's going to get Greta Gerwig is going to get a sequel, and she's going to be so in her head about what happened, because she knows, even though she'll never admit it, and you'll never hear any feminists admit it, she knows that she inadvertently ended up appealing to the manosphere by making what she'd made. But in order to actually understand what she made, she would actually have to take the red pill. And she won't. So the next Barbie movie is going to probably suck rocks and do what the Marvels did, do the same thing that the Captain Marvel movie did, and just absolutely tank. But you know what? That's for a couple of years down the road. For now, feminists need to stop whining and bitching because certain characters in the Barbie movie didn't get nominations when you think that they deserve to get them. They got the exact number of nominations I think that they were going to get. They're still going to win 1 or 2. And when they win those 1 or 2 Oscars, they're going to spurg out, and they're going to completely forget about the fact that Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig didn't get nominated. And I got to step away for about 30 seconds here, so take it away, Rierson.
All right. Well, you pretty much had said what I was thinking anyway, is that the reason why that it wasn't going to get the best Oscar or the best movie or Margot Robbie, whatever, because it ended up catering too much to men. I mean, that was inadvertent. It was it's against what Hollywood wants. Now, did Greta Gerwig paint herself into a corner? Well, I would say that that's probably not a bad way to phrase it. Is she going to be able to replicate this again and this time appeal exclusively to the feminazis? Yeah, she can try. I don't know how successful she will be, but she can try. Will it be a blockbuster movie? Possibly. I mean, you'd have to try to keep the special effects down and keep the budget to as much of a minimum as possible. Will she be able to replicate this one? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. As you said, she caught lightning in a bottle, but it seems that this bottle ended up scarring her hand, like what happened with the effect of the Infinity Stones with Marvel Endgame, or leading up to it. So, I still have no intention of seeing it. And I'm still navigating my own red pill rage at this point. How many Oscars do you think it actually will get? That's my question, Naroki, if you're back.
Yeah, I am. Yep. 1 or 2.
Any bets as to which one?
Ryan Gosling won't win Best Actor.
That's what I was thinking, or that's my gut was telling me.
Set design will be 1. Screenplay might be the musical score might actually win. Set design was pretty fucking good. Set design and wardrobe both were pretty good. I haven't seen the other movies, so I can't really draw any comparison, but they will win, and they probably will win in one of those 2 categories. Gosling is a bit of a long shot because, like, I saw Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, and yeah, man, like, Gosling has got his fucking work cut out for him. I think Robert Downey, that Oscar's Robert Downey Jr.'s to lose. And I saw Robert Downey Jr. and I saw Oppenheimer. Yeah, there were different types of characters, but I think Oppenheimer is overall a better movie. Although I think people will be talking about Barbie a lot longer. Barbie's going to have a lot more cultural impact. Yeah, either one of set design or wardrobe, and maybe another one. There's like a possibly adapted screenplay, because they want to give Greta Gerwig something. She's not up for Best Director. Yeah. She has the most financially successful movie of the year, and they have to give her something. So getting her the adapted screenplay as opposed to Best Director would be the compensation. So yeah, 1 or 2. They might even get 3, but I mean, at least 1, maybe 1 or 2. That's my guess.
Okay, and when you put it that way as well, it reminds me of Peter Jackson cleaning house with Return of the King, but they didn't do anything with the first 2 movies because it doesn't leave anything significant for, like I said, for Fellowship or ultimately Return of the King. So, and I'm assuming that's the logic that you're talking about in terms of how Hollywood works or thinks.
Yeah, they're going to get Greta Gerwig is going to get something, so it's going to be a Best Adapted Screenplay because she's not nominated for director. The wardrobe design and the set design are pretty fucking good and I said that right at the very start when I saw it the first time around. So it's going to get one of the two there, maybe even both of them.
Okay. We'll see.
But yeah,
We'll see.
one or two is my guess, because that's just generally, it's not a year when there is an absolutely knock it out of the park movie. And there really hasn't been a knock it out of the park movie for a while. I mean,
That was good.
except of course Sound of Freedom, but I mean, the which of course didn't get any nominations, even though if Sound of Freedom had been given the same budget and the same promotion that Barbie had, it would have reached in somewhere between 1.6 and 1.8 billion if it had been given the same cinematic reach.
Well,
and that would have just absolutely caused Hollywood to just spurg.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, when you explained it that way, that's how you, as a male, have an understanding of how the industry is. I wouldn't say that you have inside information, but you have more of an insider's viewpoint. More than I don't. And with the feminists losing their fucking shit over it, again, feminists, by and large, do not like logic. They don't like reason.
Oh, they hate it. They hate it. It's kryptonite to them. And that's ultimately what's going to cause them to go down. Right? And it's not to say that there's some pretty illogical people in the manosphere. I know. Angry Guy, for instance, for one. And I'm not going to get into the details with Angry Guy right now, but there's a few manosphere content creators that leave a little bit to be desired as well. So, I mean,
regardless of that one way or the other, it's to come at things from your perspective will be it's a pill that the feminazis don't want, won't like, and will refuse to acknowledge. And that's probably putting it mildly. So, all right. Well, that's cool. I don't have anything more to say on this one, so we can move on if you're done.
Yeah, okay, let's move on. Oh, wow, this next one. Jesus Christ, man. Yet another woke remake. This time of The Wizard of Oz.
Okay, who's the studio?
I don't remember right off the top of my head. I'll have to do some looking on that. Hold on a second. Let me just do a quick let me just do some quick searching here while my search engine. But yeah, it's getting now. There have been versions of Wizard of Oz before. This is not the first time that Wizard of Oz has been remade. The issue is that this time it's like, the one real outstanding version that really stands out about this is It's a Wonderful Life and Wizard of Oz. They're getting, oh my god, it's also It's a Wonderful Life too.
Oh, good
oh
God.
my god.
What could possibly go wrong with the strong Judeo-Christian moral of the story to go along with it? Oh,
well, I mean,
God. All right.
I'm an atheist, right? I mean, it's like I don't have an issue. I mean, I don't, but I mean, I understand. Okay, believe it or not, Progressive Vote Brigade is setting its sights on two classic films. What is the hit list now? It's a Wonderful Life and Wizard of Oz. I'm translating from I'm reading from the Washington Engager here. Nothing remotely offensive is allowed, yet the folks pushing the agenda are often the rudest, most overbearing bunch you'll you'll ever encounter. From the Daily Wire, legendary Hollywood gems like Wizard of Oz and A Christmas Classic It's a Wonderful Life, both getting what director and writer Kenya Barris is calling a diverse reboot. And of course, right, speaking to Variety, she's black. Yep.
Oh, fuck.
Speaking at Variety at the Sundance Film Festival, Barris confirms he's working on a script for both films, giving the Judy Garland 1939 a new look with a story from a different point of view. Okay, well, first of all, there was a version of Wizard of Oz done from the black point of view. Back in the 70s, it was called The Wiz. Never saw it. I think it's...
Kenya Barris looks like he's male. American film and television writer, producer, director, and actor.
Okay, I think this is a perfect time to switch characters and talk about someone I couldn't imagine their life could be. He's ultimately a hero's journey, someone who thinks something's better than they were at, and they go on to realize that where they were... The Blackish creator also created talked about his 1940 Frank Capra classic starring Jimmy Stewart. He plans to tell a story, but with a person of color instead. There is apparently no studio behind it yet.
Boy, we so poor. It's all the rich white bankers that's good, keeping us suppressed.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just load it up from the Blaze here. I accidentally clicked on MSN by mistake. I mean, I hate Wizard of Oz. Focused on the time original Great Depression. Yep, there's no studio behind it yet. Again, there was a black remake of The Wizard of Oz called The Wiz back in the 70s. It actually had Diana Ross. It didn't do particularly well.
And Michael Jackson was in it too, actually.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad. Yeah, I remember watching it. It wasn't bad. But, I mean, God, you want to talk about a fragile ego.
Okay, so yeah, there is currently there's no studio behind it. It will get a studio sponsorship. Unless, of course, there is because, I mean, I might be doing the story about, there's another black movie that's not doing particularly well right now. I've done some reviews I've looked at some of the reviews on it. The Association of Magical Black People or whatever.
The Negro movie.
Oh, well, apparently it's a movie. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's getting absolutely trashed in the by all the reviewers, including the audience that it was actually supposed to appeal to, which tells you something about how bad it actually is.
Wow. So could I almost dare to say a word? It's not the Negro movie, it's the Nagger. I wonder if that's pretty much almost what it is. It's the Nagger movie.
Oh my God. Anyway, anybody want to call us racist or bigots for bringing this up? You know what? I'm really beyond fucking caring. It's you're running out of other people's. You're running out of money, and you continue. And again, Kathleen Kennedy just discovered this the hard way, right? Disney has just pretty much up and told her, no. You're not doing another Star Wars movie that's going to run us $300 million. It's going to lose $300 million. We can't afford your social grandstanding anymore. And they fired that director. And they also went in and did a whole bunch of other reboots because, simply put, they can. And again, it has to be ego, right? Because Kathleen Kennedy is obviously not that fucking stupid. Because if she would have been stupid, they would have found a way to remove her by now. So Kathleen Kennedy's ego is the thing that's keeping again, right? We talked about this when we did the South Park thing, right? She actually tried to retaliate against South Park. You know, so same
Like
thing
that.
here. Uh, you know, they did a black remake of The Wizard of Oz. You know, It's a Wonderful Life was a Depression era movie about the Depression. It that one might work with an all black cast, but knowing what this particular director is about and the way that they're going about doing this, they're going to probably make white people the villains. So we already know which way this is going to go. The whole thing is, I mean, again, for all we know, right? It's being rewritten and developed right now. As far as I know, I can't find any information about a studio behind it yet. But I mean, Disney can't afford to take any more hits. Paramount might be able. I don't think Paramount will go anywhere near this. Warner Bros. All of this, none of the major studios can afford to sink $150 million into a woke Wizard of Oz remake and have it tank. And I think a lot of people in Hollywood are starting to figure it out. So this movie might not see the light of day. The fact of the matter is that somebody wanted to do this because white people bad. And that's kind of like that's the thing, right? Guaranteed that this woke Wizard of Oz remake, the white people are going to be the Wicked Witch, or the two Wicked Witches are going to be white people. The lady who tried to take Dodo the dog away from her is also going to be a white woman, right? They're going to find a way of botching. They're going to find a way of botching both of them. There is a way to do It's a Wonderful Life from a black perspective. Very easy to do It's a Wonderful Life from a black perspective. But they're not going to do it from a black perspective because it's Hollywood. They're going to make white people the villains. And they're going to racially grandstand and they're going to lose money. But they're going to point out to that one movie, that one exception to the rule, and they're going to use that and say, oh, well, these movies can work because this movie over here did well. And that's also part of the reason I suspect why Kathleen Kennedy went ahead and did some of the stuff that she did, because she saw that there was a feminist movie that did well. So, hey, you know what? That feminist movie did well. That's all the proof that I need that my agenda does work. Because that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's what Kathleen Kennedy is all about. But again, right, I'm through talking about this. So, Rusin, have at her.
Oh, fuck. Well, I mean, with the Snow White remake and the actual Snow White remake, depending upon your version of what you think will be successful. But then again, there was another gift that kept on giving, which was the name of Rachel Zegler. Fucking dumb, half white, half Spanish cunt. Just as dumb as Kathleen Kennedy is. I need to get paid for every minute this gets streamed while I was wearing this fucking dress. Wow. Oh, well, she's learned the hard way that no one wants to deal with her anymore, or at least she's not getting near the press coverage that she was getting before. Idiot. Absolute fucking idiot. As for this, I mean, why stop there? I mean, why don't we look at Cinderella? Oh, my expectation would be for the Wizard of Oz, is that the good witch, well, she's going to be black. And the bad witches is going to be white. And everybody that's going to be bad is going to be white. Because us poor black people, we so suppressed. Oh, I already said that earlier. I'm sorry. Never mind. Again, this is going to be another movie, not that there are many, that I would insanely woke. Oh, God. Well, let's see. Do we actually have the munchkins, or are they also going to be the magical creatures? I mean, you can't have small people in there anymore. You know, munchkin was something that was synonymous with your kid or with a bunch of children. We're the munchkins. Oh, they're over there playing. So, I mean, the Wizard of Oz, at its core, is all about the monetary system. It's about well, the Federal Reserve taking over and fucking people over. Farmers losing their house, their livelihoods, their property with bank loans and the like. I mean, that's what the Wizard of Oz before I'd have to watch the whole thing all over again. And if I can find that explanation for you, my friend, I'll send it to you on Telegram. So maybe. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad remake to be done, but the irony is that it's the deep state telling on itself again. I don't see it happening, or at least I don't see it happening cheaply. I mean, if anything about the Falcon movie from Marvel is any indication, they have to rewrite the whole damn thing because it was just so poorly written that the people that it was kind of intended for, they don't even want to listen to it or don't even want to watch it. Just give me a minute here. Who is... Oh, Kenya Barris. Barris is the one will be directing it. Oh, good God, what could possibly go wrong? And I can't see him being... Oh, Wizard of Oz director says new film will include LGBTQ+. Oh, roll right there. It's going to be fucking done. Oh my God. Oh well. Whoever is going to be the idiot that takes this on for the studio, it's going to be an someone should lose their job over taking this one on. I cannot see it. I can't see it working. So I guess we're going to have a bunch of midget gay dwarves that are going to be of various colors. Oh, sorry. That would be of different tribes.
Gay transgender midgets. Yeah,
exactly. So once again, J. Jonah Jameson from the first Spider-Man movie, that laugh of his, you serious? That's playing in my head about 6 or 7 times right now. It's just I can't believe this one. Oh my God. And you know what? I'm gonna laugh my ass off when this thing fucking tanks. And I can see that it's gonna tank. If they're gonna be spending, I wonder how much will be allocated. Probably have to give them like 150, maybe 200 million to make it, but good luck on that. Holy fuck. That's just whatever. As you said, man, it's not my money, and thank God, because I would, if I was an investor or a speculator to, if I was being courted for this one, be kind of like, you know what, you can take that and shove it up your ass. Good luck. Good fucking luck. Oh my god. Oh well. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Because that's what that's going to be. Another movie, another remake is going to bite the dust. So good luck, Kenya. You're going to fucking need it. And on that
Could
note,
you
I'm gonna
type
have some
that?
water, and I got this.
Could you type that name in the chat, please? Because I'm actually gonna probably get a photo of him for the slideshow.
Yep. Just putting it in right now. God fucking Lord. There you go. Oh, sorry. All right. All yours. Let's move on.
Okay, let's just take a look at the insanity. Oh, oh my God. Let me just take a quick.
Speaking of LGBTQ plus.
Oh my God. It's just like, it's like
Holy
clown world after clown world after clown world after clown world after clown world. Just, oh my God.
And I have to say, I segued quite well into the next topic without realizing it. I really did.
Okay. Well,
Anyway.
Yeah. So if you could credit Lee, here's the ironic part. There's always a yin and a yang with something like what went on. You know, Lia Thomas so flagrantly winning and abusing the system the way, and I'm going to just call it the way he did.
By taking his yin and making it a yang?
Yeah. Whatever. You know, by abusing the system and having all of the Western nations back this bullshit up, you know, and what ended up happening is because it was such a flagrant abuse. By the way, it's not a coincidence that after what happened, like, I mean, it was after, like, I mean, they'd done a couple of things around weightlifting and whatever, but I mean, it was after Lia Thomas did what he did, and of course they've also done this with cycling, they've done this with weightlifting, they've done this with rugby, they're doing it with a lot of international events. Till the third world majority is going, no, fuck no, like, we're not going to do it, right? We're not going to cooperate, which is why, by the way, the World Economic Forum was talking about exporting this to the third world, because it's like they're not going to be able to push this trans stuff unless they export it to the third world. The only problem is that they can't really export it to the third world because they're losing in the first world. Like, they're getting their asses handed to them at some point if the press does not completely and utterly collapse, right? Like, this whole thing with like I said, you know, Daniel Smith you're starting to see, now that you're starting to see it happen, now you're starting to see it start to snowball, right? Doug Moe did this pronouns bill. Ron DeSantis did something. Now the state of Texas, now you're starting to see these various states going, no. You're starting to see states and provinces go, no, we're not going to allow the boys to compete against the girls at state level. And you're starting to see pushback everywhere. And even in the blue state, I mean, even if the blue states allow the boys to compete against the girls, and even if the federal body allows it to happen, they're not going to get past the national level, because internationally, the third world majority is going to veto any attempt they've got to try and push this beyond that. And that's what's gone on, is that Lia Thomas is butthurt because the third world majority spoke and said, no, Lia Thomas does not get to swim at international events. She does not get to swim at the fucking Olympics, right? So Lia Thomas, and this was a question that Jeremy Hemley from the Quartering asked, and it's a fair question to be asking. Who the fuck is bankrolling this lawsuit against the Olympics? Like, who's paying for it? The only person, and this has been revealed again. Ironically enough, it comes from a feminist source, but it's Pritzker money that's been pushing this. There's nothing organic about this trans movement. There's nothing organic about it at all. It's being specifically designed to create gender confusion so that Pritzker can make more of these gender-bending drugs, these hormone blockers and whatever, so that they can add to their bottom line. There's nothing about trans rights about this. Is all about Pritzker's bottom line. And Lia Thomas is going to Switzerland, and she's suing the IOC in order to be able to swim at the Olympics. Now, is she going to win? Or is he going to win? You know what? I hate to say this, but there's a very real possibility that he might win. Here's the issue. If he loses, great. Hold on. If he loses, great. Common sense wins the day. If he wins, what's going to happen is that there's going to even be countries in the West that are just simply going to withdraw their swimmers from the swimming competition to let the IOC know that they will not participate in this. And if the IOC keeps pushing on this issue, what you're going to see is the entire International Olympic Committee just absolutely collapse. And I think you want to think that the IOC and the people who are running the IOC have enough brains in their head to put 2 and 2 together. But, you spread enough money around with these international, and there's been enough corruption scandals involved with the International Olympic Committees over the years. You spread enough money around, you spread enough sweetheart deals around, and the IOC will and has in the past looked the other way. Just like FIFA looked the other way when Dubai was using slave labor to build their fucking stadiums. So it goes back to who is, I'd like to say that you could count on the IOC to keep its integrity intact, but they did allow transgender athletes to compete at the Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. They didn't look the other way. It took the weightlifting federation, International Weightlifting Federation, to go, no, you're not having any more biological men competing in women's weightlifting. Like, that's not going to happen. So what Lia Thomas is attempting to do here is this is the reason why we need to find out who the fuck is bankrolling this. Because what they're attempting to do here is attempting to establish an international precedent that allows transgenders to compete at international events. And if Lia Thomas were to win this lawsuit, and I can't say for sure that she won't, I keep saying it's that he won't, what's going to happen is you're going to see the third world almost completely withdraw because what's going to happen is it's going to start with swimming, and it's going to apply to every other event that goes down the line, right? And when that happens, these federations are going to go back and they go, well, yeah, you either accept the IOC's ruling, period. That's it. Like, it's done. And it's like in these third world countries are going to go, no, it's not done. You want to know why it's not done? Because we're just not going to send our athletes. And what's going to start happening is that they're going to start seeing countries bow out of the IOC if the IOC tries to force these third world countries to compete against transgender men. That's what's going to happen. And you know, like you're seeing it everywhere. Like you're seeing, I didn't put it in to the Canada thing, but I'm starting to see people in Canada start to openly push for Canada to leave the United Nations. And if it happens too much, then, you know, you're going to see an even larger push. Same thing with cars. Daniel Smith, there's no car manufacturing in Alberta, so Daniel Smith's hands are tied if they try to push this thing through. And that's one of the reasons why Trudeau has to win in 2024, has to win next year, because if he doesn't win next year, this whole thing. I mean, Daniel Smith is basically doing the only way the car companies can cooperate is they have to limit the number of gas powered automobiles that they can produce, and so that means that there's only going to be 8,000 gas powered vehicles allocated to Alberta, and Daniel Smith's hands are tied because they don't manufacture gas powered automobiles. They don't have any manufacturing base in Alberta to do that. Now, is somebody in Alberta going to start manufacturing cars to make up the difference? Is somebody in Western Canada going to start up a car company to make up the difference? Are they going to start bringing back gas-powered automobiles out of mothballs to make up the difference? Hell yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen. And again, I'm kind of getting off the track here, but you know, you'd like to think that the people over at the IOC are just going to just go, no, we're not even going to do this. But money has a way, and we saw this with the American Pediatrics Association. Money has a way of making a lot of people forget about their morals. So, is this court case gonna work? I'd like to say no, but it just might. And because it just might, you know, I mean, again, we're talking about people who are potentially so greedy and so short-sighted that they will take their money and fuck international law, fuck international rules. I got mine, fuck you, and allow this to happen just so that they can enrich themselves? Absolutely. They will. So we go full circle here. Who, I think it's a really obvious question. Who is bankrolling Lia Thomas's lawsuit against the against to swim at the Olympic Games? Who benefits from having this happen? I think we both know, and anybody who's listening to the show knows who benefits from having this happen. And with that, I am done, and I'm going to turn it over to Rearson.
Fuck me running. All right. Well, Liam, it. I just go with it because I'm not playing along with this person's mental illness. Now, let's not forget that this whole thing with Liam more or less started probably because he was getting tired of thinking, well, I'm a better swimmer than this. Just can't get past being average. So I'm going to be a chick with a dick. And off it went. Now, what I'm really curious to know is what backroom deals have been agreed to or agreed upon for this individual to be where it is currently. course, it's going to be almost impossible to find out, I'm sure. I somehow wouldn't actually be surprised if just out of curiosity, does Liam still have a dick?
Yes, she does. Yeah, he does.
So he's partly insane. Sorry, is somewhat having afflicted mental issues. Oh my god. All right. Well, maybe there's the promise of unlimited, free lifetime supply of gender bender concoctions. I think that's probably about the best way to say that. I didn't care for this individual right from the start. And I still don't, for what it's worth. It is not my concern. And I really don't give a shit about this one. I really don't care. I mean, the Olympics are a great place for game rigging. It's a great place to do whatever it takes to placate the IOC. I consider the Olympics to be one of the greatest dens of corruption. Hopefully this is going to break the Olympics and it's going to make people aware of the shenanigans about what actually goes on behind the scenes. Now, will it? Probably not. Will it make any difference? Maybe. I don't know. But I can say honestly, I really don't care. I just don't give a shit. And if it isn't the Olympics that are corrupt, it's FIFA that's just as bad, if not worse. Then it could be somebody else. I mean, some other organization. I don't know. I don't really care. And if enough of Africa, for example, walks away, because I imagine that's probably where the mass majority of the boycotts will be. If it won't be them, I fully expect that a lot of the Muslim world will be like, you know what? Fuck this shit. If you're going to do it, great. Go ahead. If he wins and he's going to be in there, no problem. What I would what I would love to see happen, is that, okay, hypothetically, Liam competes against the biological females, likely blows them out of the water, figuratively speaking, of course, and it gets a gold medal. I would love to actually see that gold medal have some sort of a phallic symbol on there. Yeah, all right, congratulations, you gold winner, you dick. Yep, here you go. And we're going to actually award the 3 medals to the actual biological females. So you can have your gold. Just like, oh my God, just like, what country was that guy from? He was first place only because he was the second Olympic figure skater.
Oh, Finland. Yeah. He was. It was they had him go second, just so that he could be briefly in second place, but there was no way he was going to win.
No, well, I thought he was first, actually.
No, second. Oh, yeah. Second.
He was second. He was second place. Yeah. Talk about your thanks for. Oh, and that's what it really should be, is the thanks for coming out medal for Liam. Thanks for coming out. Yeah. You won. Don't care. Oh, okay, that'd be cool. Oh, we're almost done anyway. Just give me a minute here. Just replied to B. Well, if he joins in, Hey, no problem at all. So, I don't. Fuck, whatever. Just whatever. I'm really hoping that these corrupt sports organizations fall where the rot really does legitimately collapse. It collapses upon itself and shows the hypocrisy and whatever else. I mean, good luck hosting the Olympics in a third world country, even if, collectively they get, funding from other countries to build the facilities and whatever else.
Oh, well, it's going to be in LA after this. The next event is actually going to be in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Well,
if the IOC, if the Olympics even exist at that point, even if the Olympics even exist in 2032, right? That's assuming the Olympic Committee even exists. Because if they make this move, they're done.
I think that's exactly what it's going to come down to. So either way, the IOC, I think the Olympics are on their way out anyway. I mean, it's only a matter of time until it just people. My opinion will be is that people see it for what it is, which is a corrupt joke. So, no idea, and I'll just leave it at that. So let's move on.
No, I want to keep talking about the Olympics. Hold on.
Okay. I mean, I suppose we can. Oh, I know what I wanted to say to you earlier. I mean, Liam Thomas is. I mean, I think I called Kathleen Kennedy or Brie Larson. The case of space herpes. It was Brie Larson. Just wouldn't go away. Just when you think you're all done, it comes back. Just like Liam Thomas. Sports herpes.
Well, I mean, I got to give Brie Larson some credit. She did have enough sense for the most part. She has made a couple of dumb mistakes, but she has gotten smart enough to more or less keep her mouth shut. No, it is not okay to be fucking slamming white men. No, it is not okay to be insulting the fan base of a movie that you're doing. No. Yeah, and she has kept her mouth reasonably shut. Right? I mean, more actors should be pulling Chris Pines and keeping their goddamn mouth shut. Chris Pine makes it a point of never commenting on social issues. Consequently, his value as an actor never goes down. And Chris Pine has done some stuff that would be very PC. But I mean, he keeps his mouth.
He always struck me. I don't know why, but I always found him. I felt that he's more of a Republican than anything else. He's probably libertarian at the least.
Well, I mean, he's the son. His father was the one of the lead actors in a TV show. It might be a little bit before your time, but I remember Emergency. So yeah, he was born.
Really?
Rob Pine. Yeah, Rob Pine is Chris Pine's dad. So he grew up in the system. And he has an education, and he was also smart enough, and I actually commend him for this. He was actually smart enough to come on Facebook and go as under a different name for a while until people got smart to it. But I mean, the conversations that I had with him when he was on Facebook, he seemed to be very.
His father was in Chips.
In Chips. Okay, yep. I kept thinking it was Emergency for some strange reason. Okay, my mistake. But yeah, he's smart enough to stay out to not look for the limelight too much, probably from some of the experiences that he had with his dad. But I mean, not every person that grows up in Hollywood ends up being seriously corrupted. And this is something that I have to keep reminding people, that not every person in fucking Hollywood is a fucking scientist, fucking child fucking drug using pedophile, right? Or Scientologist. Like, there's actually very grounded people that are trying to do the best they can in a system that is just massively fucking corrupt. And they have to keep their mouths shut. Chris Pine is one of them. Right? I've seen just enough about Chris Pine over the years. He doesn't get into politics. He doesn't make comments about political issues, but I suspect he does lean to the right. He's got a head on his shoulders, and he's very, very centered, especially for somebody in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. That was my impression from my interaction with him when he had a clone account, when I was able to chat with him on Facebook for a while. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of time, so that account is gone, obviously. But it was, he seemed to be a pretty decent guy. Hard to keep your privacy when you're a major celebrity like that. Well, actually, again, going back to a particular adult performer that I'm now in contact with on a regular basis, I mean, she has pointed out to me, because I mean, among the things that I've had, discussions that I've had with her, and she points out that she tends to be very protective of her privacy, and I have pointed out to her that in my podcast, I totally get what she means. I mean, yeah, she's got to deal with a particular type of crowd that is maybe pretty fucking creepy and pretty deviant sexually. But I mean, I told her, it's like, yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, I've had death threats for the content that I've had. I've had people follow me onto multiple platforms and start yelling and fucking screaming at me, right? It's like, yeah, so you tell me you value your privacy? I totally get that. Because, I mean, I haven't had to deal with as much as you have, but trust me, I know what you're talking about, right? About your need to having privacy, because, yeah, I have to have it too. I don't reveal my face, for instance. Finding out who I am personally is easy enough to do. People have used my name on this show. People have used your name on this show, right? It's happened a few times. Finding out who I am is easy. Finding out where I live, finding out what I do for a living is a different story. Finding out who my employer is, that type of thing, right? And we're kind of getting off the reservation here. Again, all I'm going to say about this is, who benefits from Lia Thomas winning this lawsuit? That's the pre-ad. Those are the people that are backing Lia Thomas in this. And is it going to work? I'd like to say no. I'd like to say common sense is going to win the day. But I can't say for sure. And as ridiculous as this lawsuit is, because it's the IOC, because of the money involved, it might actually work. And it stuns me to my core to have to say that. Anyway, let's get on with the last topic, because the last topic is also very interesting, because it looks like Steven Crowder has decided to take his channel in an entirely new direction here. Hold on a second. Maybe I'm going to have to look this up here. So anyway, Steven Crowder he decided to do a different he's obviously decided to reinvent himself. He's obviously become very aware of what is going on. Okay, yeah. They did an investigation, or somebody, and this is the second time this has happened. Crowder is basically, because, I mean, James O'Keefe simply cannot do it all himself. There is just too many, and there's probably going to be another guy after Crowder that comes along and fills the gap. There's probably also going to be a person in Canada at some point that's going to end up doing the same thing. Crowder has obviously decided that he's going to be a little bit more James O'Keefe at this point. And he is going to, and what he's going to do is that he's starting to do some investigations. And one of the ones that he has done, Mug Club Undercover, is reveal a Blackrock executive who went by the name Hero 121. Now, it is a she, and this she had her account linked up with several pedophilia sites, and Crowder blew the roof off of this. Again, they're going to have to point out a couple of things. Her presence on these websites does not indicate necessarily that she is guilty. She can only be determined whether she's guilty in a court of law. Here is what else has happened, though, around this, which really strongly suggests, and by the way, given what I'm seeing, and specifically, again, you can necessarily hide your direct involvement. What you can't do is you can't hide the circumstantial evidence. Like, for instance, you can do some stuff to do around the planes and whatever, and you can hide the direct evidence, for instance, with 9/11. What you can't do is you can't explain away the coincidence of the plane just happening to hit the particular part of the Pentagon that had all of the investigation material stored up to try to find this $2.6 trillion that went missing. You can't explain, for instance, you can explain how 7 went down, but you can't explain how it is that all the gold just happened to coincidentally get removed the day before, or about how certain owners who had businesses at the World Trade Center all conveniently left their offices about a month or two before this event occurred. You can't cover up the or the fact that there was explosive material found in the gypsum debris, the cloud debris that came out. Like, you can hide the direct stuff, you can't hide the indirect stuff, and it's the same thing that's going on here, right? Yeah, okay, her name appears. Crowder gives her name. She reveals the name. She reveals that it's a major executive at Blackrock. Okay, well, it's Blackrock. All right, so then all of a sudden, let's just pivot away from Blackrock and look at the movie Sound of Freedom and how all of these corporations and all of these media outlets smeared Sound of Freedom. Now, if I were to take a closer look at all of these media outlets, how many of these media outlets are owned by BlackRock, Fleet Street, and Vanguard? Yep, let's take this another step further, right? If that's the case, then again, and we go back to the whole Lia Thomas thing, right? Who's benefiting from this? Who's bankrolling it? Who benefits? Well, one of them, the company that Pritzker's run, a majority. If you want to do an investigation into the Pritzker companies and find out who the majority ownership is in those companies, it wouldn't surprise me in the least to find out that it is BlackRock, Vanguard, and/or Fleet Street. If you want to do a search while I'm talking, Rearson, be my guest. So the whole thing is just a big right? And this goes into the fact that this woman, again, which is not to be unexpected, she scrubbed all her social media. But is what is really strangely particular about this is that the law firm that is representing her and Blackrock also scrubbed their social media accounts. And they went out and they're going after YouTube. And of course, they're going really hard after Rumble, trying to get them to take the stuff down, which, by the way, is probably one of the reasons why I'm going to be downloading Crowder's content and finding other places to put it up so that, no amount of legal shenanigans on the part of Blackrock is going to be able to completely bury this, and they know it. Rumble is not going to play ball. Twitter is not going to play ball. Right? Like, there is a whole series of around this, around pedophilia, around everything, and specifically the response that the media had to Sound of Freedom, and the companies and the media companies that ran all these slander pieces. And of course, one of the people who ran these slander pieces ended up being a convicted pedophile and proven pedophile himself. But now, with this, you got to look at all of the other mainstream media publications that did hit pieces on this, and you got to find out who the majority owners are on all of those media companies. Who owns the controlling media on there? Did she play a part in this? Is she playing? I mean, again, let's take this another step further. Did Blackrock play a part in the hiding of the Epstein client list? Like, are they participating in that? There's another for you. Who would have had the financial resources to bribe enough people to look the other way when Epstein got killed or got exiled? One or the other. I'm going to say he got killed. Like, this is serious stuff, right? Now you've got a direct link between Blackrock, the Pritzkers, and all of this other pedophilia stuff that's been floating around here, and about how, let's take it one step further. All of the transgenders that you currently see in political office in DC, who was greasing the palms to make sure that these people got in there? There's another. I could go on and on and on. Because now you have a very clear link, and Blackrock is not going to be able to make this go away. Rumble is not going to, even if YouTube chooses to play ball, Twitter and Rumble won't. And even if they're able to get some legal situation where they are somehow able to get Rumble to take down Crowder's content, it's not going to matter, because it's going to be posted up in so many other places that Blackrock is not going to be able to catch them all. So, yeah, we've got a very big on this. And with that, Rearson, I'm going to turn it over to you.
One channel, group, whatever, on Telegram that I'm following, Eyes to See and Hear, something like that. That's what she goes by. Eyes to See and to, anyway. Did go into some degree about this. And her input is that this pedophilia is not exclusively limited to men. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are enough of them that are more than happy to stick their dick into something that's underage. And for the more sick ones, the younger the better. Don't get it, but that's me. I have a soul. These people don't. But what she had indicated is that, and I was reminded as well, I mean, the stories now of female teachers that are having sex with underage boys, puberty or just before puberty. They're doing their best to corrupt them. It's there. It's slowly gaining awareness, but it is happening. And within the pedophile satanic branch of all of this, and that's what this whole thing of the alphabet community, two-spirit and fucking whatever else, is the women that are involved in this are there to be kind of that motherly figure to the kids that are abused, but they're also bringing their kids into all of this as well. Now, Blackrock, understandably, should be shitting its pants right now over this accusation.
They are. They brought their lawyers in big time.
Yep. They're shitting their pants over this allegation because if they go down and this becomes revealed, it's going to blow everything wide open. Now, for people such as you, myself, V, and whoever else, as far as I'm honestly concerned, my court of public opinion is that Blackrock is they're more dirty than getting some very warm tar sands shot at you, or getting tarred and feathered, whatever you want to use as a metaphor. Because if this goes through and it wakes up the population more as to what's going on, and you take the time, people start to take the time to the question we already ask every time something goes woke. Well, let's see who are the largest stakeholders. Blackrock, Vanguard, State Street. It's one of those. I mean, I think I looked into Rogers and enough of their. Actually, I'm going to take a look at that right now. Pardon me. Rogers shareholder, institutional shareholders. Let's see here. I'm only saying this because there's a radio station that's owned by Rogers downtown along the C train route, and they've got the rainbow colors on the front door. So it already makes me a little bit ticked off, to say the least. I don't care about the members of the board. Oh, wow. Okay. There's nothing per se with the typical three. There are BMO Harris Bank, so that's basically the American branch of Bank of Montreal. They've got not even 2%. And same thing with Fidelity Management. It's comprised of BMO, RBC, Rogers Control Trust, two TD, Toronto Dominion Bank assets, and something called 1832 Asset Management. No idea what they are. Anyway, so, but somewhere within all of this, there has to be some influence of Blackrock everywhere. And all that we can do right now is just wait for this to mature, wait for this to grow up, not grow up. All we can do is to wait for this to grow some legs and just wait for it to fucking blow up. Oh my God. Like, I cannot wait for the day when the likes of Blackrock are going to be not just exposed, but with the executive order, and I'm pretty sure, well, my feeling will be is that Trump's going to win the election, and it's going to be payback, and he will finally be able to, well, it's not him per se, but he and the people that are fully behind him will have they will finally have the go-ahead to finally push through and to deal with, because that executive order that he signed of anybody involved in human trafficking, that's I can't remember exactly which one it is, but there's one executive order that gives the president ultimately the ability to seize assets of anyone or any person or any company that's involved in crimes against humanity, which basically child trafficking, pedophilia, like the whole freaking bit. And again,
Oh,
Tim
wow.
Cook.
Yeah, that means they can seize all of. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh yeah. And you wonder why the shit going on with Trump and the media spurting out and the whole freaking bit. He took Iowa, he took New Hampshire, Nikki Haley.
He took Georgia.
He's got a snowball's. She has a snowball's chance in hell, and she's the best thing that the deep state has to run against him. It ain't happening. It's just not going to fucking happen.
Oh, well, I hate to say this, man. Like, I mean, what you just told me, assassination is not out of the fucking question. Assassination is not out of the question. Neither is a full-scale military coup, now that you've mentioned that.
Yep, well, there was that as well, too. Apparently, there have been numerous attempts to assassinate him, and he's gotten away with it so far. If that were to happen, it will be the next civil war, but it's going to be very, very interesting, to say the least. And this would also explain why Trudeau has been cock socks. I got to bring that into that. I'm gonna share that one. You're gonna fucking laugh your ass off. By Mr. Cocksocks himself is going and frothing at the mouth about Poilievre is he's mega personified in Canada. We can't have that. Don't want that. And that's what a lot of people do want. So I'm going to leave it on that note about just to let that simmer and stew. If this lawsuit, if they somehow extricate themselves through some technicality, but the NSA, which apparently has everybody's emails, if there's anything that's concrete evidence to incorporate, and if this were to go to a military tribunal and you don't have nearly as many legal options as is possible, I'd be shitting my pants right now, not just with what Crowder is blowing up on this whole thing, but it's what's going to happen next year. No, sorry, this year, in 6 months. No, 6, 7, about 7 to 8 months. Say about 8 months from now.
Well, I mean, when it becomes very clear that that they're not going to be able to stop Trump from running for the Republicans, and and it really starts becoming clear that he's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, and they don't have any. They won't be able to ballot box stuff because what's going to happen is that in the places where they tried that last time around, this time around, the Republican Party is going to make sure that there's a person staying outside of those. If they have those mail-in drop boxes, there's going to be a person. There's going to be a Republican scrutiny at every single one of those fucking drop boxes this year. They're not going to be able to go over there at 3 o'clock in the morning and shove in 50 to 100 ballots. They're going to be the Republicans are going to make sure that there's that they're going to demand a full chain of custody on the ballots from start to finish. So it is going to be very much more difficult for them to pull stuff. And it's like, and yeah, they won't be able to rely on voting booth irregularities at a couple of places to ensure they get a minority, because they're not going to win the Senate. The Senate's going to stay Republican. They're going to lose the Senate. They're not going to be able to retake the House. So I mean, yeah, it's effectively game over is what's going to happen. The Sharks are circling, and to quote Hammerhand here, they staged a soft coup, and they're not gonna walk away. So you have to consider that that thing that's going on in Texas. Are they going to use that as a justification? If they start using National Guard units to fire on those people protecting the border, it's fucking game over, right? If they try to start a war with either Russia or China, and trust me, they are going to try to at this point. Mm-hmm. Had the Republican governor in Texas not done what he had done, right? Because the Biden administration, the people running the Biden administration cannot do both. They cannot deal with massive internal dissent and engage in an external war at the same time. Like the United States as a country wouldn't last. But here again, you have another issue that comes up. Are we dealing with people, and this is something that I have to say about Trudeau as well, and when we get to the Canada episode, I will get more into this. Are we dealing with a group of people who will burn the house down to rule over the ashes rather than just be able then to step aside? Like, are we dealing with that level of insanity? And I cannot say, no, we're not. Mm-hmm. I can't.
Not insanity. We're dealing with people that are that psychopathic.
Well, we're dealing with people. We're dealing with people. We're dealing with. I hate to bring up because I don't usually bring up. I hate using Goddard's law here, but that is effectively what happened with Hitler. Hitler wanted to stay in fucking power so badly. He knew, more than likely is suspected, that there's been enough people that have been around him that except for a few people who were blindly loyal to Hitler, most of the inner circle of the Nazi party after Stalingrad knew it was game fucking over for them. Right? That's why the von Stauffenberg coup attempt was attempted. And I'm always kind of curious to find out what would have happened if von Stauffenberg had actually been able to succeed with that.
That was the bomb. That was the movie that Tom Cruise was in, right?
Well, there have been multiple movies on that coup. Tom Cruise was was the most recent one, Valkyrie, but there have been other movies done. There have been a couple movies done on Erwin Rommel, for instance.
Okay.
But yeah, are we dealing with people who are like that evil? And I cannot say no. And Kelso's right here. You know, we're thinking like normal human beings. We're not thinking like psychopaths. We're not thinking like sociopaths. We're not thinking about people. I mean, look at Chrystia Freeland. Look at how she fucking struts around. Look at how she fucking acts, right? And just remember, man, I mean, she is such a fucking horrid human being that you would actually prefer Justin Trudeau over her.
That's not saying very much for either, but yeah.
And, you know, yeah, it's all unspooling very, very quickly for them. And it's unspooling in Canada very, very quickly. For instance, I didn't include this on the Canada section, although I might add it in now that I think about it. There was a Liberal MP that called for a review of Trudeau's leadership of the Liberal Party, and he was basically bullied into backing off of that statement. I didn't include that.
Well, he also, what the fuck was it? Well, he said that he's hit his best before date. Now,
Pretty much.
the cat's out of the bag on that one. You can't, you can go back, you can make him apologize and whatever else, or browbeat him back into submission. His best bet would be to just go independent, just kind of say, I've got what I needed to do here. I'm done. And, walk away at that point, but won't do that yet.
Well, here's the thing, too. I mean, come the 24 election for the U.S. and also the election in 2025 for Canada.
Yep.
Trump, and there's a lot of reservations about Trump, but Trump has got to realize that it cannot be politics as usual anymore. And that also has to apply to Pierre Poilievre, right? Like, it cannot be. It's Pierre Poilievre. So if this, because this is what we saw. What the fuck was the name of that guy who got Britain out of Brexit after winning that overwhelming Conservative majority?
Lafarge?
No, not Lafarge. The guy before Lafarge. The guy who won that overwhelming election. Boris Johnson. Yes, Boris Johnson. Yeah, Boris Johnson. He made a couple of popular moves, and then he reverted right back to being a fucking globalist, right? If Pierre Poilievre makes a couple of popular moves and then reverts back to politics as usual, Canada will not survive as a country.
Yeah, I do hear what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing.
And we will be talking a lot more about that tomorrow.
Yep.
So
on that, I was going to say, on that note, I don't have much more to say.
I'm done. It's been an interesting episode tonight. Like I said, I had a feeling this last topic, and I put it at the end for this particular reason, because it's sort of like this whole thing with Blackrock and all of the implications that it has for Blackrock and all of the other actions that you've seen other companies and other individuals take because of this one revelation. It all causes everything. Now, from government to corporations to local governments to the way that there just seems to be this unending pool of fucking pedophiles just getting arrested left, right, and center, and there just doesn't seem to be any fucking end to it. And you're looking at this, and you're looking at Blackrock now, and you're going, And by the way, for anybody who goes, oh, well, Steve thinks, The name,
Anyway.
the president of Blackrock. What the fuck is his name?
Fink. Larry Fink.
Larry Fink. Oh, well, Larry Fink's a Jew. The Jews are behind everything. Yeah, well, I mean, the fucking Jews aren't there. There's not a lot of fucking Jews had going in China. Not a lot of Jews operating the papal bank. It's not just the fucking Jews, and it's not every single Jew. And it's sort of like, yeah, that's part of the thing, right? It's sort of like there's so many fucking people. Like if you go far enough, it's like you think the Jews were fucking behind every single bad thing that ever happened, which is my picky point. This is why you mentioned bringing up the Jews. It's like, okay, yeah, there are Jews involved, but it's sort of like, but everything, like everything, seriously, like no. And with that tonight, I am done. I don't think Grierson has anything more to say. Just remember, Patreon as the Roki 5. YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, Brighteon, Facebook, Minds, MeWe, Gab, TLB Talks, and Getter is where I'm currently at. Thank you so much for listening tonight.